Welcome to the Amateur Redneck Workshop. I'm Harold, and today we're going to continue on with this tubing, try and put it into this stuff right here. If you'll notice, this is from Precious Plastic website. This is their injector, and this is how they were going to set it up if I built it their way, but I'm not going to build this frame. I'm going to use my hydraulic press for a frame, and this will just be a piece hanging off the side. This is how their finished frame would look, with the tube hanging down here, a lever to push the plastic through it, a little hopper, and of course heat bands on there to melt the plastic. Well, I'm going to have all that, except I'm not going to have this stand. There's no use me building it when I got something that'll do the job. But before we get into all this stuff, we're going to have a couple things. In the first place, we'll probably ought to have a Bubba joke. And in the second place, we're going to do one of the amendments. And unless I'm mistaken, today we're going to take the fifth. So first thing we'll do is we'll do the amendment, and then we'll hear from Bubba. And then we'll get to work on this guy right here. This should take all of today, just doing the minor parts of it. And tomorrow maybe I can get into something more serious with the thing. Okay? Okay, today we're going to do the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution. It's once been made famous by mobsters and movies stars all over the world, because of people who are allegedly guilty of something tend to plead the Fifth Amendment so they don't have to incriminate themselves. Now, I'm going to read it off this paper because I wouldn't trust into my memory to remember everything, but this is how it goes. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, or shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. So there's a lot more there than just not having to incriminate yourself when when you commit a crime. You're entitled to get a just compensation if the government takes your property, and that could come to be an interesting point in the very near future. Anyway, like I said, everybody seen the mafia guy on TV saying that I refuse to answer on the grounds that it might tend to incriminate me. They always take the fifth, and it seems to be a good thing. And the fact that it protects you from getting tried more than once for any particular crime. You've gone to court and they decided you wasn't guilty, they can't go and drag you back in for the same thing all over again. Once you get out, you're out. I think that that pretty much covers the Fifth Amendment. I'll tell you that the joke today is going to come at the end of the video, so we'll just sort of terminate this right here and get on with the work. Oh, I almost forgot something here. I know people don't like to watch home movies and such, but I'm going to show you all one photograph. This was taken at the Royal Gorge Bridge around 1975. The Royal Gorge Bridge is near Cannon City, Colorado. And you can just guess who the heck that is in the picture. All right, so here comes the picture. Yeah, all right, so I got some new cheaters to read with here, and so I can see all this stuff a lot better. and that ought to make everything machine better for me. What we're going to do is take off a couple of thousandths here, because we're that close to the right size to fit the tubing. So that'll be our first order of the day, just to take a little skim across here. Alright, it wasn't touching right at first. I don't know what this metal is, but it's hard as everything. I think it might be some chrome molybdenum of some kind. I remember buying several pieces of that a long time ago, back in the 70s. And that could be what we've got here. So let's back it up and see if we can fit. See if the tube will fit on it. Yes, that'll fit. So, move the cutter back out of the way. So there we are. We're not the right size. It was just a couple of thousandths. So next I'm going to cut down a little bit of the end of it here. Put a 1/2 13 thread on it. And then we'll part this thing off right there. Okay? But first we got to go down to that 1/2 13 thread, and that's going to be a lot of cutting, and I'm not going to expect you guys to watch that. That'd be boring as everything. So okay, I like to start the thread at least with the lathe, and then finish it up with a die, so that it's just exactly right. But I've had trouble before getting a die to start on something, so it seems to me to be easier to start it like this and then come back and finish it up. That wasn't very impressive when it did that. I think I'm down to enough depth now to finish it off with a die, which I'll turn everything off and come back later. Well, I know I've got a 1/2 inch 13 die somewhere, but I couldn't find it, so I had to go ahead and thread the whole thing. And it's okay. I started about 492 thousandths diameter instead of 500, because I figured this is going to get full of plastic and stuff like that, and I'll probably need the clearance pretty bad. So anyway, we've got this cut. I'm going to clean up this thread relief back here so that there's nothing in the way of me screwing things together, and then from there we'll part this thing off and be done with it. So let me get the parting tool. Nothing is frustrating like knowing you got something and you can't find it. And I keep all my inch-sized dies in this little drawer here. And I went through every drawer in that stupid cabinet over there, that one right there, looking for it. I couldn't see it. And you know why? Because there was a roll of Teflon tape right on top there, and every time I'd pull it out, I could see these little screws in the front here, this little pieces of junk here, and the Teflon tape. So I cut this whole thread on the lathe, but at least it got done. But you know how when something like that bothers you, I went back and I found it. All right, so I got the end welded in there, kind of dirt daubered down, but hopefully it won't leak plastic, and the little plug will stay in the end. And you can see it's not pretty, but it's got a hole for the plastic to come out, and it ought to. And this little guy here will screw on there pretty good, although I went back and I made it a little bit thinner right here, and now I've got a little bit too much sticking through, so I'll just put a washer on the back of it because I'm tired of messing with it. I should have measured better, and I didn't. But anyway, we're making progress. Sometimes you just gotta change the job you're doing and cleans up the dirty stuff. I got to noticing how much 45 caliber brass I had. In fact, my bucket under my reloading table was starting to overflow. And I've got 4 times that much upstairs that's got to run through that tumbler yet. So I'll just listen to this while I work on other stuff. I've been working on the little bracket to make it possible for the hydraulic press to hold up things. And as you can see, I've got these little ears in here, and that makes it possible to slide the little bugger over here, which fits so much better than when I was working on my Harbor Freight forklift project. I don't have a good pin for it just yet, so I'll shove that here. But as you can see, that holds it there. There's a little bit of slop because my pin's too small. I'll get the right size. I need a 5/8 instead of that 1/2 inch all thread. But anyway, my tube will mount on here with some standoffs. And this side will hold the support for the back of the plunger. And now I don't have to build a whole stand for the stupid thing. Of course, I've got to paint it and finish drilling holes for all the other parts. I guess drilling holes such is better than should come before painting. Alright, on to the work. This clean brass is so dirty. Yeah. That one bucket there's all I got left to do now. Guess I'll take all afternoon. But while this stuff, first batch right there is tumbling, I'm going to knock off work on this plastic thing and I'm going to rain. I'll see you guys later. Boss lady only gave me time to shoot a couple 100 rounds. And then she was ready to go. Said she was tired. So I came back and I'm running out of places there to store my brass. I may have to eat some more ice cream. Hate to do it, but you know, a man's got to do what a man's got to do. Old Bubba finally got back from hunting and fishing and all that sort of thing. And him and Skeeter back at their job at the Public Works Department in the local city there. And they're at work there, and Bubba's just digging away, digging holes. Zeke's coming along behind him, filling in the holes, you know. And this guy sitting on the park bench been watching them for a while, and he says, hey, finally he just can't stand, you know, the curiosity. And he goes over and says, hey, fellas, he says, just what are y'all doing here, you know? And Bubba says, well, he says, yeah, he says, I reckon it does look kind of confusing from where you've been sitting there. He says, but what the deal is Zeke, they called in sick today, and he's the fellow that normally puts the trees in the holes. Yeah, at least they're still working, you know. They weren't goofing off. That's pretty much all the video for today. We'll keep on with the injector project as we can. I know it's going to take a long time, but there's a lot of little pieces to make and things to put together, and a lot of things for me to figure out, you know. So it'll probably take a while, but I appreciate you guys viewing, and I'd like it if you don't subscribe, and whether you subscribe or not, leave a comment. I really like comments, and they're a lot of fun. And so I guess I'll see you guys later. Just keep on keeping on.